You keep going back to a grave to visit someone who isn't buried there anymore. That old version of you, the one you apologize for, the one you're sure God tolerates but doesn't really love, you keep checking the grave, and it's empty. Here's what I want to show you today. He's not dead in the sense of sleeping. He's gone. And God is not asking you to improve the old man. He never was. Let's read it. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. All right, now watch the first two words. If any man, which means this is not for the spiritual elite. If you are in Christ, this is your address, your reality. The word there for new creature in the Greek is kaine, ktisis, a brand new creation. Not the old thing repaired. Not the old thing cleaned up. A new species that did not exist before. You see, God did not put a patch on you. He started over. Now look at the phrase, old things are passed away. The word passed away there means to go past, to depart, to be carried off. In other words, it's not on trial. It's not on probation. It's gone. And then, behold, all things are become new. Behold, that's a word you use when you want someone to stop and look. God is standing over your life saying, look at this. Not look at what you'll become someday if you try hard enough. Look at what already happened. Let's read that again. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. That is finished tense. That is done. Part 2. Whose life are you living? Now compare that to the Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. Paul writes, I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. I want you to see this. He says, I am crucified, and that's the old man dealt with at the cross. Nevertheless I live, there's a new one standing here. Yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. That is, the life you now live is not the old self working overtime to be acceptable. It's Christ living his life through you. So when you fail and you think, there he is, the old me, back again, no. That's not resurrection. That's a memory. The person that did those things was crucified. You are grieving someone God already put to death so you could be free of him. Listen, here's why this matters for the way you'll live tomorrow. You cannot behave your way into an identity you already have. You can only behave out of it. The old man doesn't need discipline. He needs a funeral, and he's already had one. So stop nursing him. Stop introducing yourself as him. When temptation whispers, this is just who you are, that's a lie spoken to a dead man's address. The truth is, who you are is new. And the same verse ends, the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. By faith. In other words, you believe what God says is true about you until it becomes the way you walk. So stop going back to that grave. Well, he isn't there. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. That's not something you're working toward. It's the ground you're standing on. You are not the old man trying to be good. You're a new creation learning to be who you already are. Sit with that today. And if this gave you back a piece of who you really are, follow along. The next message goes deeper into the new man in Christ. I'll meet you there.